the honor system is alive and well in the United States, at least in parts of eastern Washington. You know the honor system. You drive by the little roadside stand, and there's the honey, and maybe there's some flowers and some cookies and things like that. And there's the honor system, which is the cookies are $3. You put the money in the little metal box, or maybe you could Venmo if you'd like, and then the flowers and anything else that's available, you can buy those things. And I wanted to talk to the woman that runs it, and I wrote to her, but I haven't heard back. And I was always proud of the fact that these things exist. So I started doing some research on it. And here's the interesting sort of take of what happens. It is reciprocation, in that what is happening is the person that's putting the produce or the things out there for you to buy, what they're saying in effect is, I trust you. You are an honest person. And I know that you will pay for the flowers or anything else that I've placed out here. I'm not around to watch you, but I trust you. And what happens is, according to the research that's been done on this, is that you receive this as a compliment. Yes, I am a trustworthy person. Thank you for trusting me. And now I will show you that I am a trustworthy person, and I will pay. And in some cases, from the research I'd seen, anywhere between 10 and 15%, people will actually pay more than what's expected of them. Now, maybe because they weren't able to make change for the dollar or the 10 or whatever they put in there, but often they'll put notes in there thanking the person that put the stuff out there for the fact that they complimented the customer by assuming trust and honesty. Then I wanted to find out, is it universal? Is this type of thing universal? Does it happen all over the place? And I saw that they've done wallet drops. You might have seen this before. 192 wallets were dropped all around in various countries. 90 were returned. That's 47%. Helsinki was the one where most of the wallets were returned, anywhere between 11 out of the 12 wallets. Portugal had the worst. It was 1 out of 12. 2/3 were returned. This is in another experiment that was done where this guy decided he would put $6 in the wallet. He'd put his phone number in the wallet, and then he put on Facebook that he was going to do this experiment. And he asked a whole bunch of people in a whole bunch of cities, large and small, to participate in this and to drop the wallets down to keep track of where they were. And then he wanted to see which ones would be returned. Well, 2/3 were returned. 96% of them still had the money inside. The average person to return the wallet was 36 years old. So that's just about average with the U.S. population. Half of the wallets were dropped in poorer communities. The other half were dropped in richer communities. And they were both exactly the same. 60% returned from the poor. 60 were returned in the richer of the two. When it came to male or female, a few more males than females, but that might have been where the wallets were dropped. And now here are the results. Detroit and New York City had the worst return rate. Seattle, L.A., Miami, and Dallas, 5 out of the wallets. 5 out of the 10 were returned. And Nassau, Iowa, and Portland had the most wallets returned altogether. Next to only all 10 wallets returned from Salt Lake City. So then the guy decided to do some investigation into, well, it's because Salt Lake has got all these religious people. Well, it turns out that of all the wallets returned, 3 people were religious, 1 attended church, the other 6 were non-attending church members. So that's the story of the wallets and the groceries and anything else that you can buy. And I wanted to find out. So I started to look a little bit more, and I came across this great headline, The Dishonest Minority. I thought, does society need a few dishonest people? And why would we need some dishonest people? And that's why I wanted to have Bruce on. Bruce Schneier is the author at Schneier.com, a public speaker, a lecturer at Harvard Kennedy School there, chief security architect, as well as Interrupt Incorporated. Bruce, thank you for coming on. I think you were in the middle of a lecture or something like that. You know, Harvard was my backup school, so I try not to harbor any ill will towards great Harvard school. But does society need some dishonest people?
Yeah, even worse. I was in the middle of a vacation. So, and there is
all right, Bruce. Okay, all right.
Down the block, I'm in Colorado, and there's an honesty box down the block, and they're selling honey and bags of salad. And you're right; it's the exact same thing. You come in, there's a box, there's a Venmo, take it, leave the money. Super interesting, right?
Yes.
Why didn't I take a free salad? I left the money. And I teach this. And I think about, there's a restaurant near Harvard. It's a takeout. They do takeout bowls and stuff. And you can call ahead, right? You pay online. You come in. You take your meal, which is sitting on a shelf with your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take anybody's meal. And you can take 3 meals. Why does that work? And my students talk about it, and it works because the cost of hiring a guard, either down the block where I am in Colorado, or at that restaurant, or at that honesty box you saw, is expensive. The cost of someone stealing a load of firewood, a jar of honey, is small. So even if, right, I'm going to make this up, 10% steal, you still do better. Right? That restaurant is more profitable by assuming honesty than policing everybody, because most everybody is honest. Now, what you saw, the Dishonest Minority, was the first title of a book I wrote, 2013. I didn't like that title. It turned into Liars and Outliers. Same kind of idea, that we do have a few of us in our society who lie and cheat the system, whatever the system is, but most of us are honest most of the time, and that's good enough. So the question really isn't, do we need a dishonest minority? No, we don't. If all men were angels, that'd be better. But we have one, and it's okay because most of us are honest most of the time.
Bruce, you also say that it's important to have people that, referring to them again as dishonest minority, that we need them because they disrupt the system and can call out when the system itself is corrupt.
Well, that's kind of interesting. So change comes from people who break the rules. So the 2 examples I can think of is, let's take gay marriage, right? 100 years ago, immoral and illegal. You'd never do such a thing. Then future comes and someone says, this is kind of okay. Like, I'm doing it. No one's getting hurt. It's still not allowed, but it happens. And then it happens more and more. And then it happens more and more. Then it becomes kind of illegal, but for most people, it's moral. And then there's a flip, and it becomes moral and legal. I do the same thing with marijuana, right? It was illegal and immoral. Then it became illegal, and, you do it in college, and then you do it in college. Then it became legal. Mm-hmm. But for that change to happen, you need someone to break the rules and realize it's okay. The rule's kind of dumb.
So it's just enough people starting to say this doesn't make sense. It's not rational. So therefore, there is a sort of a groundswell, and then the change follows as you describe it. When I was reading this piece that you had written about the dishonest minority, or another piece you had written on this, and I it kind of hurt a little bit, but you're like, sure, you can pay $3 for the cookies. You can buy this, buy that. You can choose whether or not you want to pay it for the cookies. They give you honesty there, but then they deadbolt and lock the metal box that has the money in it, so you can't steal the money,
the question,
right?
Yes. Right. Here I'm teaching this right at Harvard, and I'll say, down the street, that restaurant gives you the bowl and the honesty box. You go to Fenway Park, and you're not going to see the will call booth, all the tickets lying on a table saying, "Find your name, take your ticket." Right? You'll never see that. Because the cost of the object is so great, the value of cheating is so much higher that the dishonest minority will ruin it for everybody. Whereas at the restaurant, at that honesty box down the block here, it doesn't, because the thing you're working with is relatively low value.
Right. So what's the use of just taking the cookies, because you're not gaining that much from it?
You're gaining some cookies. Great. You got some cookies, right? Go have fun. You have free cookies. So it's very different than you have, a free television, a free computer, free tickets to a Red Sox game.
How important is it for the individual to believe that they are a good person in order for the reciprocation that I spoke of earlier, which is, I believe you're honest. The person says, yes, I am honest. And then they behave in the expectation of honesty and they, leave the money for the cookies. But if the person steps up to that, whatever roadside stand and does not believe that they are a good person, and the person says, you are a good person, I trust you, and the person at that point would then say, well, you're a sucker, I'm going to steal everything off of this table. Does the person need to believe internally that they are morally, correct, or at least a trustworthy individual?
Yeah, the research is all over the map there. You talked about some research that talks about the self-image, the reciprocation. There's other research that if you paint, and I'm not making this up, if you paint a pair of eyes in front of the honesty box, people are more honest.
Yes.
They get in their head that someone's watching them.
You're right.
It's a painted pair of eyes. If you put a sign up saying 98% of all people were honest and paid the right amount, people are more likely to pay because they're doing what the group is doing. If people believe other people are cheating, this is research about tax cheating. If you believe that the people around you are cheating on their taxes, you're more likely to cheat because you don't want to be the sucker. You don't want to be the one who's honest when everyone else is cheating. So you're right. There is a whole lot of social and self-image, social image, where you fit in the group, how society views itself, all wrapped up in weird ways. I don't think we know enough to tease them out. When I was looking at this research, it was a bunch of years ago. I'm sure there's more things that have happened since then. But yeah, it is very complex and societal.
Are we, and maybe this is just too big and broad of a question, I'd seen another lecturer saying that the trust between individuals and systems or between individuals themselves has dropped 50%. I don't know how they came up with that in the last 20 years. Are we becoming less connected and less morally responsible to one another as society fractions into smaller groups?
Again, it's complicated. It seems like we are moving towards a lower trust environment. Now, there's very low trust environments. You think about war-torn environments where there's no rule of law. It's very hard to live because you can't trust anybody to do a business deal or anybody who isn't a relative or a close friend. That interpersonal trust is important, but there's also societal trust. Like, do I trust that other people are paying their fair share of their taxes? Do I trust that the food and the water I eat is not tainted, right? I mean, that's trust that comes from the government that inspects restaurants and abattoirs and factory farms. So we do seem to be moving into an era of lower trust. We're still a very high trust society, right? It's not like a place where there's no rule of law. There's no such thing as a contract or a court or a police department. But in terms of living in high trust societies, trust is ebbing. And it does go up and down cyclically. So we know that.
My father used to say all the time, if you tell the difference between a conservative or a liberal, you would ask this question. So I'll ask you. You ready, Bruce?
I'm ready.
Okay. What percentage of the population cheat the system? When I say system, I mean any system. You go to Red Robin, you lie that it's your birthday, and they're going to give you a piece of cake for free. You go and you check in at the gate there to get on the plane. Do you have any bags you want to check? No, because you want to avoid the bag fee. So you take your bag and you throw it down at the end of the jetway there, and you don't have to pay. Any kind of system, anything, driving the HOV lane, not pay the parking, whatever it is, you could cheat the system. What percentage of people at any time, at any system, cheat?
So we don't know. Everybody cheats something. I mean, I don't believe that any person is 100% angel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a kind of a tough question because what do you mean by that? Most systems, people don't cheat because the system would collapse. Right? I mean, if everybody took a free cupcake from the honesty box, if everybody did it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like in a week. Right? If everybody took the free firewood or took the free bowl at that restaurant down the block from Harvard. So for most systems, most people are honest most of the time. For each individual system, there's always going to be some percentage of people who are going to take advantage of the system. And I think everybody, I don't think there's research on this, but I would bet anything that everybody cheats something sometimes. I mean, that would be inhuman if you don't.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll let you get back to vacation. Where are you we're in Colorado right now, Bruce?
I'm in Durango.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're listening and you're running that honesty box with the honey and the salad, it's a nice honesty box.
Wait a minute, somebody's leaving salad out in Durango. It's probably 100 degrees there right now.
No, it's in a refrigerated case, and it's a whole bag of greens, and then it's fine. But the sign says if you want some lamb, call this number. Not leaving the lamb out.
No, not leaving the lamb out. Well, make sure you get to Ouray, Montrose Delta, Durango. Get over to Colorado. Get over to Grand Junction. You should go to Ouray. You been to Ouray yet?
Not been to Ouray. We're going to take the $1 Million Highway up to Silverton tomorrow.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for your time. Continue to great stuff. And by the way, you're going to be hearing from us again. I love your writings. I love your thoughts and the fact that it's like taking a Harvard class without having to pay or buy a sweatshirt or protest. So this is good. Thanks, Bruce.
I got a book on AI and democracy coming out on...
Yes. Bruce, hold on a second. Don't think of that. Bruce, we're calling you about that. We want to hear about AI and democracy, okay?
I'm in.